Good afternoon. Please
Sir,
tell me what is the meaning of the word Divyanshu?
Sir, the word Divyanshu means magical rays of the sun, which represents the divine power of the sun given by its rays.
Divyanshu. It could be from sun or from other places also.
Yes, sir.
Divya means great, isn't it?
Divine.
Anshu means ray.
Anshu means sun, sir. Yes, sir.
Anshu means sun or ray?
Sir, it's sun.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. I thought it was rays.
No, sir, it means
You got
sun.
a good name. You have got a very beautiful name.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, you have taken a subject called mathematics as a
Yes,
optional
sir.
subject. You must be very much interested in this subject, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, people are talking about these days, they are promoting for the last few decades actually, they are promoting Vedic Ganit. So, where Vedic mathematics really, do you think it should be promoted? Because at higher level, it becomes redundant. So, do you think it should be promoted by the government, invested so much of money, when beyond a point, say 10th, 9th, 10th, they will, it may not be really beyond a point, it may be useful. What is your view about this?
Sir, Vedic maths is a novel initiative, and in my opinion, it should be promoted because the basic concept of Vedic maths revolves around the 16 sutras that were present in the Vedas, because of which mathematical calculations and numericals can be solved faster. So, in my opinion, these methods can lead to interest rise in students when it comes to maths, and it can remove the fear of this subject from their minds. And also recently Rajasthan government has also brought up an initiative of introducing a Vedic education board when it comes to school education. And if Vedic maths is also being taught in that, I think it can go places when it comes to education for maths.
No, but unless you have forward linkage, suppose you're going to algebra, to other subjects, and you higher calculations, faster calculations, then this maths will not be useful to you at all. So it will be a, don't you think it will be a wastage of time and energy?
Sir, mathematical knowledge is imparted in terms of levels when it comes to students. So, firstly, they have to learn calculations around basic numbers and decimals well, and then they can upgrade to algebra and other subjects like trigonometry. So, if Vedic maths can help solve these problems better, then they'll develop interest in these subjects, and eventually, other higher mathematics can also be taught easily to them. So, this would be the biggest plus point of Vedic maths.
Okay. Have you heard of Wi-Fi? What is the meaning of Wi-Fi? We all use Wi-Fi. And is
Sir,
there
I do
anything
not.
faster than this?
Yes, sir. Sir, Wi-Fi refers to wireless. I'm sorry, I do not remember the full form, but WiMAX is considered to be faster than Wi-Fi, sir.
WiMAX or Li-Fi?
Yes, sir. Sir, both of
Wi-Fi
them
or
are.
Li-Fi?
Yes, sir. Li-Fi is the fastest one, and WiMAX is between these two, between Wi-Fi and Li-Fi.
So what are the principles on which they operate? What is the difference between the principles? How will Li-Fi become faster? Anyways,
Sir,
have you heard of optical fiber? Optical fiber? You're a
yes,
man
sir.
of electronics and electricals. Optical fibers. How
Yes,
does it
sir.
work? How does it work? What is the advantage of optical fibers?
Sir, optical fibers work on the principle of total internal reflection of light. And because of the difference of refractive indices in terms of the materials and the surroundings present around them, they can transfer light at very fast speeds, and hence they can be used in multi-purposes.
But light is also electromagnetic wave,
Sir,
and
optical
Wi-Fi also uses electromagnetic waves. How
so
they
the
could?
interference is very limited when it comes to optical fibers because of the total internal reflection principle.
Okay. Now you are interested in Indian mythologies,
Yes, sir.
and you have done MBA also. Now tell me, what are the learnings from Mahabharata in terms of business management? Are there any learnings
Yes,
in
sir.
terms
There are definitely some learnings.
for an MBA
Sir,
student?
Sir, if we talk from the perspective of Mahabharata, let's first delve on the topic of the Mahabharat war. If we say that what was the difference between Pandavas and Kauravas, we see that Pandavas were more devoted towards team dynamics, and they did not resort to blaming of Senapatis at the end of the day when the war ended. While when we talk about
So
Kauravas, they
one is trusting the leader is one principle.
Yes, sir. Trusting the
Next,
leader is one of them. So
next, next.
Karna's policy of social service towards by his policy of donation towards people can be counted as a policy of corporate social responsibility when we talk about the present scenario. He donated his Kavach and Kundal to Lord Indra also. That is one of the stories.
But
And
then it could be
uh,
dangerous. That means CSR could be dangerous, isn't it?
Sir, in that perspective, it was a good policy. Not CSR cannot be dangerous, but in that perspective, it was a good deal because he also got back arrows which he could fire to Arjun. So that was a good
Okay.
thing.
Let's go to the next.
Sir, apart from that, woman empowerment is also one of the things on which Mahabharat war was based on because they valued Draupadi's conviction, and at the same time, similarly in present scenario, gender empowerment in terms of various initiatives taken up by corporates can be reflected by the same principle.
But empowerment after completely disrespecting and insulting her. This is not, I don't think it is a good learning.
Sir, they valued their code of honor above the things that their wife valued, but at the same time, they did fight the war for Draupadi's
Anything
aggression
else?
as well.
Anything else?
Sir, planning of war and execution, and we talk about the view rachna and the other things done by the Senapati, they can also be involved in management to how to approach a problem and how to involve all the stakeholders. Also, one of the things Pandavas focused more on getting allies for the war during their vanvas, and I think this should be a good policy for corporates when they should ally themselves for environmental sustainability and gaining more out of the present business scenario.
But don't you think it was unwise on the part of Kauravas to give even fire, not to give even 5 villages? To look at the greater good, sacrifice,
Sir,
sacrifices for greater good. Then
sir, they
asking
were
help of Lord Krishna, actually the main source of power. Going in numbers are not important; it's the quality which matters. There's so
Sir,
many
they
learnings.
were, yes, sir. But they were more dedicated towards their will to handle the kingdom rather than give away 5 villages. So I think that was the ignorance was the main issue.
You have been a business management analyst in HSBC.
Yes, sir.
Now, banking in India are really in bad shape. Do you have anything to say on that? What should be the strategy to see that banks don't really hurt the economy the way they are doing?
नूर सर
Sir,
नूर सर आप
Yes.
थोड़ा सा सेंटर में हो जाएंगे सेंटर में कैमरे
Oh,
यस
is that fine?
यस सर यस दिव्यांशु आप आंसर दे सकते हैं
ठीक है, sir. Thank you. So the major issues that bank face are the rise in NPAs due to lack of due diligence, and as well as the technological innovations have not taken place at a rapid pace in the banking sector. Similarly, governance issues and professional autonomy is also missing. So in my opinion, if we can go forward with the 4R strategy, which involves recognition of the NPAs by asset quality review, resolution in terms of IBC and bad bank, which have come up during the recent budget. Similarly, recapitalization based on performance rather than frequent recapitalization, which is done on an yearly basis, would be a better solution. And at the same time, public sector banking mergers should also definitely lead to greater global banks and efficient removal of NPA when we talk about them.
You're talking about bigger issues. Take example. Ruchi Soya.
I'm sorry, sir, I missed out on the last word.
I'm saying we're talking about bigger issues. Take example of Ruchi Soya. It failed. It could not, and it had to be auctioned. Auction was taken by someone who again went to bank. Bank again gave money. Do you think banks should not have discretion to really refuse this kind of loaning? Because ultimately this is going to be a bad money. Later on also it is going to be NPA. So as you said, the professionalism is missing in the banks. What can be done to improve professionalism in the banks?
Sir, we can decide on a few things when it comes to improving the professionalism in banks. Firstly, appointments should be made on a transparent basis rather than political affiliations, because of which intelligent people and people who have experience in the banking sector should be employed. Secondly, if we talk about technology, employment of technology like core banking solutions and Swift network can definitely also lead to better professionalism. And thirdly, frequent audits and reporting to the RBI when it comes to various banks should also lead to a better regulatory environment and hence better professionalism.
Okay, now tell me one thing. I mean, your foreign service choice is fifth. That means you are not interested in foreign service at all. Any reasons why you're not interested?
Sir, it's a mix of both personal and professional reasons. Personally, I want to stay back because of my parents. And professionally, I think that because I have lived in India for 27 years, I am more acquainted with the problems present in the Indian society. And I believe that I can contribute more in terms of solving them rather than the foreign issues. So these are my two reasons for opting for IFS as fifth position.
Okay, now come to the main situation at home, problem at home. COVID is there, and people say RT-PCR count is 18. Somebody says it is 12. Because there are two people which has got count 18 and the other one has got 12. Which one is less serious? Which has more viral load and which has got less viral load? 12 or 18?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware about that parameter because there are other parameters like CT value also present. So I always get confused which one is which one.
Like CT value, for instance. One is
So
12
CT
by
value,
25, the other is 20 by 25.
yes, sir.
Which one is worse?
So the lower value of CT is the worst candidate.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Suppose it is 12 by 25, the other is say 20 by 25. Which will be more serious?
Sir, in my opinion, it's 12, but I'm not sure about it.
12 will be more serious. You mean by 20 by 25? That means out of 25, 12 is affected, and in that case, 20 is affected. So which one will be more serious?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware about it. I'll go back and check for this.
Okay, please do. Please do.
Yes.
These days, people are talking about in JNK there was a drone attack on military installations. Now,
Yes,
in
sir.
Libya and other places also, you hear that American drones have attacked something like that, and drones are not being, detected by radars.
Yes, sir.
Now, why they are not being registered, I think that will come to later. My question is that if drones are going to hit all our installations, why we should be investing in huge defense equipments? We should rather start talking to people and develop camaraderie amongst countries rather than fighting, because whatever amount of investment you make in equipments, some drone can come and hit it. What is your opinion about this?
Sir, mutual cooperation amongst countries is definitely a good way of solving this problem. But at the same time, due to specifically talking about India, we have a hostile neighborhood when it comes to countries like Pakistan and China, because of which defense investments definitely need to be stepped up so as to protect our borders and citizens living within it. So I think the machines and the other equipments are definitely needed along with talks at the international level to foster cooperation between these countries.
Yeah, No, I mean they are hostile because they feel they are hostile to us because they think that India is hostile to them. So where is the solution? Solution is to just sit people to people contact and talk to each other. Let politicians go to hell. Just talk to people to people, and people to people are they the same. I don't think there'll be hostility among the people as such. Politicians and the governments have hostility, isn't it? So maybe there is a solution that people to people contact might help, because that is the
Yes,
only
sir.
solution. Otherwise, drone will come and hit all your machines that you have purchased, and no, and we are paying through our loans the cost of the development of our society, of our people. People are starving, and we are paying.
Yes,
We
sir.
are paying. Anyways, now uh, just tell me. We talk about rule of law.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you tell me what are the ingredients of rule of law?
Sir, there are three ingredients embedded in the Indian Constitution for rule of law. Firstly, the Constitution serves as the source of power when it comes to the Indian polity. Secondly, absence of special privilege to any person and everybody being equal in the eyes of law is the second one. And thirdly, equal protection of law for treating all those who are placed at the same position alike is the third part of rule of law.
How we are performing? Because recently you have found a priest who died in jail, 84 years old. He had Alzheimer. He was forgetful. He could not remember. Still, he was thought by the machinery to be detrimental to the country's interest. Now,
Yes, sir.
if the rule of law is there, what are the various things which are violated in this? If there are three ingredients, which ingredients are violated in this kind of jailing this person for such a long time, in spite of the bad health and in spite of so many things?
So the component of equal protection of law is violated in this case because since the person had medical issues which were present with him, so he should have been treated at par with the people who have such medical issues who are placed in jails. So I think this is the first point that was violated when it comes to rule of law.
This is the first point.
Yes, sir.
And the law should not be blind. Though the law is blind, isn't it?
Sir, it's a popular quote from movies, but I do not believe in that perception.
UPA says that you can't get a bail if UAPA is applied in a particular case. Do you think this law is basically it is democratic law, or it is repressive and should be defended?
Sir, there is no need to remove this law, UAPA law, because the boundary that this law caters to comprises of terrorism, which can harm the sovereignty and integrity of India, and at the same time, it can also cause disaffection. But what we can do is we can resort to applying the rarest of the rare doctrine, which the Supreme Court also stated in the death penalty case of Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab, so that the rules are more objectively applied, and at the same time they also see the situation in which the people who are applied to are present.
Now, the general principle of law is you are innocent till you are proved guilty. When we
Yes, sir.
apply the APA, it says you are guilty till you prove that you are innocent. Don't you think just the opposite of the canons of law?
Yes, sir. It does appear to be opposite to the canons of law, but we also need to see that the crimes which are committed under UAPA threaten our national sovereignty and integrity, and at the same time they can cause wide amount of violence and disaffection, which are crimes of superlative degree. So I think these are valid justifications.
Particularly, you're talking about this particular priest. The NIA felt that he deserved a UAPA. A common man, nobody says that he deserved that. So once it is proved that he deserved UAPA, you are right. But who will nail who will really ensure that the police and NIPA and these agencies don't misuse this. So that is the crux of the problem is there.
Yes, sir. Exactly. So the Supreme Court can lay down some guidelines for that.
No, Supreme Court in last few years back, it has not rejected the law. They could have held it ultra vires because theoretically speaking, you need some kind of strong laws to deal with terrorism. But
Yes, sir.
practically speaking, this is being misused. This one, sedition, these are the NSA, these are the rules which should not exist actually in a civilized society. This is
Definitely.
my opinion. VP Singh, sir?
Divyanshu.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Okay, tell me something. Have you heard about this regime change in Israel as well as Iran? Have you heard of that?
Yes, sir. There has been a recent regime change in both these countries.
How exactly are these twin regime change going to impact the regional stability of Middle East?
Sir, with the impact of, if we talk about the impact of regime change of Israel, I think since they have been close to US since the past, and also we have seen various accords like Abraham Accords which have come in, Abraham Accord which has come into place. So this can lead to better integration when we talk about the Middle East with the other countries, because Israel is now being not being considered as a foe that the historical perception was there. But at the same time, the Israel-Palestine issue still exists, and I think a two-state solution as proposed by India should definitely be the way forward for it. But I'm not quite sure about the Iran case, sir.
Okay. Now, have you heard of Balochistan?
Yes, sir.
What exactly is the issue with Balochistan? And can you tell me the historical perspective of this conflict?
Sir, though I am not sure, but I think the issue majorly caters to the giving the autonomy of people who are present in this region, and the minority rights are not being adhered to. So this is the major issue when it comes to Balochistan.
Okay. Turkey is building a canal, and it is in controversy because of many reasons: environment, funding, and strategic as well. Can you elaborate all these controversies?
I'm sorry, sir. I have not heard about this news actually, so I can't elaborate on that.
Okay. Now, recently, every country is interested in Afghanistan.
Yes, sir.
What is their bone of contention?
Sir, Afghanistan acts as the entry point to Central Asia, and at the same time, it has also been it also has a history of involvement of many countries when it comes to mineral resources and other strategic viewpoints. So that is the major bone of contention when we talk about Afghanistan.
Have you heard of Quad Group?
Yes, sir.
Now, till now, it is a political or strategic group, and they are just meeting and discussing issues. But then there are experts who are suggesting that Quad Group should also operate as a military alliance like NATO.
Yes, sir.
What's your take on that?
Sir, in my opinion, Quad Group should not converge to a military alliance, because Quad is right now an informal grouping only of 4 countries, India, Japan, US, and Australia, who have strategic convergence when it comes to the Indo-Pacific region. And they're also trying to counter China because of the concept of South China Sea and rising China in the Indo-Pacific. But if we convert this into a military alliance, then our stand against China would become steadfast, and it can impact our relations with them. So we should follow a strategy which contains both cooperation and conflict, and should only adhere to the economic reasons when it comes to Quad.
But anyway, I mean, like, you know, China is on our head, sitting on our head in east of Ladakh. They're still not gone. So what's wrong? If we form a military group, we'll have support of 3 more countries, and then probably China would not attack on us.
Sir, though it seems like a simple solution, but China being our neighbor is definitely the thing that we need to focus on, because we will be the one who will be most affected if China turns hostile to us. And similarly, if we talk
China
about
turns
various things,
hostile.
for
It
example,
is hostile. Wait a minute, Divyansu. China turns hostile. What does it mean? It is hostile. It is hostile.
yes, sir. I meant
What
more
else?
hostile than sir, I meant more hostile. Sorry, sir. Please continue.
So, I mean, we'll have support from three other countries, no? Let China be hostile. We'll have support from 3 more countries.
Sir, I meant that China might turn even more hostile than the present situation, and also because they are supporting Pakistan, we will have 2 hostile neighbors, which can impact our economy and polity in a very negative fashion. So I think this is the biggest issue, and we should not resort to a political military alliance when it comes to Quad.
Well, there is this conflict going on in South China Sea. What is the bone of contention? And which all parties are involved there?
So the bone of contention represents various islands, which the China claims comes under the blanket claim of 9-dash line. For example, Paracel, Spratly, Schalboro, these are some of the islands, and the countries that are party to it are Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam, and 3 or 4 more countries.
What is the issue? I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just that, you know, there's a dispute about the claim.
Sir, the dispute is about. So the dispute is about the claims of the islands, and also the South China Sea is a vast resource of minerals and oil exploration, which China will lay hands on, and at the same time, the transportation through this global commons as treated by India is also one of the major issues. So India treats this as a global commons and also believes in the freedom of navigation through South China Sea.
Let's come back to our domestic issues. Government has announced this PLI scheme. So first thing,
Yes,
you got to explain me what exactly is PLI scheme.
Sir, the production linked incentive scheme has been announced under Atmanirbhar Bharat program, where it will involve attracting the investments from outside and making our supply chain globally competitive in terms of giving incentives as when the production is risen in various fields like electronics, etc.
So last year, because of this corona's first wave and lockdown, our economy had gone down in negative, right? The growth was something minus 23 or something %.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think it was wise to announce PLI scheme than investing that much money in procuring vaccine for corona? If India had procured vaccines or probably had given pre-orders to Pfizer and Moderna and other companies for procuring vaccine, only India would not have needed to announce this PLI schemes and or other booster schemes.
Sir, there are 2 aspects to this point. First about the vaccine and second about the viability of PLI. If we talk firstly about the viability of PLI, the supply chains were disrupted globally, because of which we were not able to procure raw material from outside. So PLI scheme was definitely a good initiative because it will help build a supply chain resilience and at the same time promote Make in India initiative as well. But if we talk about the giving of money from PLI to vaccine, we see that the government had already allotted a 35,000 crore package to vaccines. And at the same time, we were also not aware about how deadly the mutations can be, because of which the vaccine demand will overshoot, which we thought in the second wave. So I think it was because of these projections which went wrong, and social distancing behavior which was not carried out, because of which COVID hit us so bad that we needed vaccines so much. So it was a mix of both of these things.
Okay, you have got this interesting hobby of reading Indian mythology, right?
Yes, sir.
Recently, Elon Musk had said that we probably are living in an advanced simulator, software simulator. What's your take on that?
So can you please repeat that last word, advanced?
Simulator. It's a software simulator. We are living. We
Yes,
all
sir.
are in a advanced software simulator. That's what Elon Musk had said. What's your take on that? Do you agree to that?
Yes, sir. I do agree to that, because the technological levels, if we talk from the historical point of view, have risen to the maximum when it comes to the present generation. So I definitely think that we are living in an advanced simulator where more and more software and hardware are used to provide better living opportunities to people.
No. You didn't get the question. He said that this world is an illusion. We are not. We don't exist in physical reality. Rather, it is a software program. The world is a software program, and we all are a part of a advanced software simulator. We are in a simulation.
Okay. Now, sorry, sir. Now I understood the question well. No, sir, I do not think that that is the case, because if we talk about the present world, also the humans have emotions as well, and we are also now taking steps to conserve our environment, which we definitely wouldn't have done in the past. So I do not think that we are living in an advanced simulator, but we are trying to live with cooperation and harmony, proving the
You still
quality.
no. You still didn't get the question. You still didn't get the question. Listen to me carefully. Elon Musk said that there is nothing called a physical reality. There's nothing. I mean, neither you, Divyanshu, I as a VP Singh, or Mohammed sir, nobody exists in reality. There's nothing called a physical reality. There is somebody who has created a software program, and we all are a kind of character in that of that software program. World is an illusion.
Yes, sir. Now I
That's what he
totally
had said.
understood, sir. Okay.
Listen to the question carefully, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, since there are no proofs for it, so I don't think it's a theory worth believing it in. Is it just one of the marketing gimmicks that he's playing so that Tesla maybe can get some funds? But I don't think this is the situation.
Well, in Mahabharata, Lord Krishna had said that everything is illusion. Everybody comes to me and everybody comes out of me. And this world is an illusion that is created by me. What's your take on that?
Sir, this was particularly conveyed when he visited the court of Kauravas and he showed his godly form. And I do believe that what he said was correct, because ultimately we are born, because I believe in the spiritual. So I think we are born from there and we also go back to there. The concept of soul and Atma also reflect that positively.
What would have, can it not happen that, Elon Musk is considered a 13th avatar of Lord Vishnu, and he again says the same thing, that we are into Maya and that this world is created by me. Why can't it happen? Okay, tell me one more question related to your hobby of mythology.
Yes.
This Dev and Danav, they did the Samudra Manthan, right?
Yes, sir.
Nectar came out. It was distributed to Dev, not to Danav. In fact,
Yes,
Rahu
sir.
was killed. Wasn't it injustice on the part of Lord Vishnu?
Sir, though I do not remember the specifics, what the point of Samudra Manthan was when Danavs were creating and assaulting their authority over Devas in terms of.
No. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. Devas and Danavas both participated in Samudra Manthan.
Yes, sir.
Nectar came out. Ideally, they should have been given. It should have been given to Danavas also, but it was only given to Devas. It was not given to Danavas. One Danav, that is Rahu and Ketu, mischievously could manage to get that. They were beheaded, right? Wasn't that injustice on the part of Lord Vishnu?
Sorry, sir, I do not have a view on that because I haven't read that properly.
Okay, over to Bharti Saab.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Divyanshu. So we will start from the NPA problem. So sir has asked.
Yes, sir.
So you suggested the 4R resolution, 4R problem.
Yes, sir.
2 of the R was resolution and 1 was recapitalization.
Yes, sir.
So my view is that, have you heard about this recently, the Videocon resolution by the NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, where the assets of 42,000 crores of Videocon was sold out in only 2,000 crores.
Yes,
So
sir.
in most of the cases, the IBC, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which was hailed as one of the biggest reform in the recent time, one of the biggest economic reform in the recent time, has not fulfilled the promises of revival of the sick companies and to maintain the employment level. Number 2, recapitalization. The demand is very low, economy is in very shamble position, and the saving rates are very low. The normal people like me and you are not putting their money in the bank, rather they are investing in some other means. So how do you defend these of you 2 points which you suggested for NPA problem, resolution and recapitalization?
Sir, firstly, if we talk about recapitalization, this is definitely a problem because the government is resorting to frequent recapitalization because of non-compliance of public sector banks with respect to various Basel norms as well as NPAs. So the solution here could be to go for performance-based recapitalization, where the recapitalization of the banks would be linked to some of the performance KPIs which can be declared. For example, if we talk about the prompt corrective action, it has certain guidelines. For example, NPAs, return on assets, and CRAR. So we can establish certain guidelines when we talk about recapitalization, so as to deal better with these with the process of recapitalization. And so, secondly, talking about the issue of insolvency, I believe that there are certain issues when it comes to the IBC code, as you rightly mentioned, and apart from that, the stock of NPAs, suspension of IBC during COVID, etc., were also major issues when we talk about insolvency. But at the same time, it has been a game changer when it comes to various resolutions like the Bhushan Steel by Tata Power and by Tata Steel and other issues. So if we just cater to the problems of having not delaying the appointments when it comes to IBC, removing the stock as fast as possible, and getting good alternative investment funds who can invest apart from bad banks, then definitely IBC can also go a long run in resolution of these loans.
Okay. So you hail from Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
Why the condition of Marwari woman is much more better than rest of the women in Rajasthan?
Sir, Rajasthan historically comprised of only 2 areas, Mewar and Marwar. And Marwadi women, as compared to the other part, were significantly backward when we talk about their situation in terms of both political representation, social status, and economical empowerment. So that's why Marwadi women are the crux of the gender empowerment issue when it comes to Rajasthan.
Okay. So why the Rajasthan is not so much industrialized as compared to its neighbor Gujarat?
Sir, there have been there have been certain points because of this. Firstly, Rajasthan historically was a princely state, and hence the infrastructure was not much developed by British because it was not directly governed by them, apart from the cities that they directly governed. Secondly, in terms of geographical terrain, Rajasthan faces major issues because its desert areas does not give the financial and operational viability to companies to invest and at the same time bring more results. And at the third thing, the presence of minerals, particularly in the southern and the western part of Rajasthan, is comprised of tribals and villagers who do not have the required skill so as to go forward with in terms of industrialization. So these are some of the major issues apart from non-development of infrastructure like roads, electricity, etc., because of which Rajasthan lacks.
Okay, if we compare the Kashmir, Junagadh and Hyderabad, three of them was
Yes, sir.
integrated in India. But
Yes, sir.
Kashmir became very problematic and Hyderabad and Junagadh didn't become that problematic. Why is it so?
So the first major reason was that Kashmir shared its boundary with Pakistan, and Hyderabad did not have any neighboring hostile country in terms of its boundaries. So that was one of the first reasons. Secondly, I also believe that the Kashmir issue, it escalated very much because of being taken to the UN and because of involvement of Pakistan. And similarly, the action was taken pretty late when we talk about Kashmir.
But Junagadh shares the border with the Pakistan also.
I am really sorry, sir. I thought it was Hyderabad that you were talking about, so I got mixed.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, when we talk about Junagadh, the first thing was that the majority population was Hindu, which was which gave an opinion in terms of joining India, and their ruler was Muslim. So I think the consensus was to join India only, and hence because when they joined India, there were no issues as such. But Kashmir was divided in terms of its population as well as the hostility of Pakistan towards grabbing Kashmir was also huge. That's why this is the major issue why Junagadh and Kashmir issues are separate.
Okay. So your hobby is writing Hindi short stories.
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me how the Munshi Premchand changed the complete arena of Hindi Kahani? What is his major contribution in Hindi Kahani?
Sir, Munshi Premchand was a game changer when it comes to the yuga of Hindi Kahani. Firstly, most of the stories revolved around the social issues that were present in the country, and his beliefs of being a socialist were reflected through his stories, and which was against the policy of capitalism which Britishers were following during that time. So that is the first one. Secondly, there's also a concept of Hindu-Muslim unity, which is definitely showcased in his stories, which was responsible for the readers who read these stories to come together and participate in the freedom movement. So I think these two were his major contributions when we talk to the story world about him.
You have heard about Nai Kahani?
Yes, sir.
What is this Nai Kahani?
Sir, Nai Kahani Yug did come about after the Indian independence movement, when the India got independence in 1947, and it broadly revolved around the issues present during that time, which were also related to socialist issues. So this was the Nai Kahani.
And how it is different from the Premchand Yug?
Sir, the Nai Kahani Yug did not only particularly cater to the socialist aspect, but it was also giving a hint towards mixed economy and at the same time. But the Premchand Yug was completely focused on socialism. It was completely against capitalism. So this was one of the major difference between.
So why Indians are so much inclined towards mythology rather than history?
Sir, mythology and history both are used to quench human thirst when it comes to historical aspects. But mythology, since it is being linked to the religion part, develops a sort of belief in them because they believe that there is a supernatural who can help solve their problems rather than believing on the reality, which is history. So I think that belief of supernatural and the belief about God links them to mythology more rather than history.
So my grandfather also knew about the Ramayana and Mahabharata. I also know about Ramayana and Mahabharata, and I am pretty much sure that my children and my great children will also know about the Ramayana and Mahabharata. So the education is increasing, our technology is increasing, but simultaneously in the Indian society, mythology is also progressing without any force. For example, nobody forced me to study Ramayana and Mahabharata. So how do we
Yes, sir.
explain this very contradictory situation in Indian society?
Sir, I do not believe that these are contradictory situations because Ramayana and Mahabharata, firstly, are not anti-technology per se, but they are taught in all the generations mostly because of the values that are present in them, because they represent the social beliefs of the Indian society, and at the same time give us a hint about believing in the supernatural as well. So this is the reason why they are progressing without any force, because they are a representation of our society, and the technology which is evolving can also be simultaneously coincided with them. For example, if we talk about the Mahabharat war, by astronomical dating and dating of equinoxes, archaeological evidences, it has been proven that it did exist. So mythology and history can exist together, but at the same time, belief in supernatural is one of the major causes because of which it is progressing very fast.
Okay. And what is institutional memory? It is being said that India lacks the institutional memory. What is this institutional memory and why India lacks it?
I'm sorry, sir, I've heard of the term, but I do not recall what exactly it is.
What is your favorite mythological story which inspires you a lot?
Sir, Mahabharat is my favorite, and Karn is my favorite character from Mahabharat. And the story was when he donated his Kavach and Kundal to Indra, despite knowing that he might be dead in the war against Arjun. So that inspired me a lot because of his devotion towards his core principles of donation.
You are a engineer by profession, and you have thoroughly studied the science. And our fundamental duty is also to promote the scientific temperament in the society. And you are also aspiring for such a prestigious service that the people look upon it. So, but you are very much interested in mythology, which is non-scientific, supernatural. So, how do you explain this contradiction in your personality, in your education?
Sir, my interest in Indian mythology grew from school, where I was being taught Ramayana and Mahabharata during the school curriculum. And as per the contradiction that you have mentioned, I believe that it is not a contradiction because my core interest in mythology caters only to the beliefs and the values that our Indian society has imbibed from them rather than the scientific aspects, because the research is still going on whether characters like Ram, Krishna, etc. existed. But if we talk about the major issues, for example, as Noor sir rightly talked about woman empowerment, so these issues are still prevalent in the society. So these are the learnings that I take from Indian mythology, and I wish to inculcate them in my personality so as to solve the problems of society better.
So what are the inherent features in Indian economy which can lead us to become the $5 trillion economy?
Sir, in the path of getting to the $5 trillion mark, I believe that we are doing certain initiatives and we need to step them up more. For example, firstly, we should rely more on our strengths, which are, for example, service exports primarily, and tourism is also one of them. So technological innovations in such will definitely lead us to that path. Secondly, the single window and coordinated clearances can definitely help us step up investment at the same time so that more FDI is brought in. Thirdly, infrastructure focus of India, particularly by the initiatives of a national infrastructure pipeline, will help us reduce logistical costs, bring employment, and at the same time bring more investment, which is much needed. And fourthly, in terms of ease of doing business, we should also resort to more resolutions in terms of IBC and trading across borders and resolving construction permits, which are our strengths as depicted by the World Bank's ease of doing business index. So these are some of the major issues that we can take.
Divyanshu,
yes, sir.
Just because you're not interested in IFS doesn't mean that question would not be asked related to international relations. You need to understand one thing, that why questions are asked questions are asked to understand your, how you think, how you process information, and how you frame your opinion and views, and how exactly are you going to take the data and use it for the development process. So the questions
Yes, sir.
related to IR are just not only exclusive to students who are interested in IFS. It can be asked to anybody. Now try to understand.
Yes, sir.
See, your preparation related to international relations was not up to the mark. Now that is not the problem. The problem is that when you start giving answers, then it becomes really superficial. So by doing that, you hurt yourself in two ways. First, that when you're answering and you're not giving good answers, straight away you have hampered yourself. If you have not given a good answer which was expected out of you. Second thing is that by giving that superficial answer, that okay, I'm giving you example, Israel and Iran question, and then South China Sea issue, quad questions. When you start giving just superficial answer, then you're giving a hint to the panelist or the examiner that you are not giving due respect to the question that is asked, because you have not given thought to it. See, every question is asked with something in their mind. They ask you questions just not to get an answer. That answer is very much available on Google. You just type and you will get the answer. So the question is asked to you to know your view. And when you are giving this superficial answer that okay, there's a conflict in Palestine, so there's a change in regime in Israel and change in regime in Iran, so something would happen. See, either you simply simply excuse yourself and say that sorry sir, I've not read, I do not know.
Yes, sir.
See, it's better to say 10 times sir I don't know than giving just casual answers. All your answers related to your hobby and international relation, I would term them as casual answers. I ask you question related to making it a military formation. So try to understand the repercussion. If you had read about it, you would have realized, or if you have given a thought to it, you would have realized. See, America is there, Australia is there, Japan is there, and then India is there. It's not only about China. What if tomorrow America asks India that okay, I am leaving Afghanistan? If had this Quad group been being a military group, had if America had requested India, okay, now this is a military group, my interest lies in Afghanistan, I am leaving Afghanistan, you go and deploy your armed forces in Afghanistan, or you deploy your armed forces in Syria, or you deploy your armed forces in Somalia. In that case, India probably would have been waging war for America and creating all kind of enemies. The question was not only related to China. You got to think.
Yes, sir.
So naturally, that thinking cannot come in the interview. So what exactly are you supposed to do? Read newspaper, read all those current events, and think about it. What exactly is happening? Why our foreign minister is saying that no, we are not going to make this Quad group military alliance? It's just not only about China. There's something beyond it. Then when I asked you related to Israel and Iran, there's something in my mind that I just wanted to test. See, the person who has become Prime Minister of Israel was in their intelligence services. The person who has become the Prime Minister in Iran is a hardliner, and is a person who is basically supported by the supreme leader. That change had a story behind it. Last president of Iran was not the choice of the supreme leader.
Yes.
Not about the people. He was the choice of the people, but not Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So they because of that person, there was a change in their constitution, and then they didn't want the same thing to happen. Then America has got their change in regime because Biden has come. Not many things
Yes,
have
sir.
happened, and again Saudi Arabia wants to be the leader of Middle East, then Turkey wants to be the leader of Middle East. Iran itself claims itself to be the leader of Middle East. So it is getting into a very delicate position.
Yes, sir.
So this regime change is going to show its impact in coming future. But your answer was below par.
Yes, sir.
You have written.
I have not read much about that.
You have written reading mythology as your interest area, right?
Yes,
See,
sir.
why exactly questions related to your hobbies are asked? Because hobby is something where we don't work on it, or we don't pursue it for any return. That is for our own, it is out of our self motivation. So the questions related to hobby is asked to check your motivation level. So something, how motivated are you for something? How exactly would I test your motivation? By asking question answer, I probably would not be able to test your motivation. How exactly would I be able to test your motivation? When I check your knowledge in your hobby, because hobby is
Yes, sir.
something which is pursued out of motivation. You didn't read anything related to mythology. I mean, Indian, our land is full of mythology, and if you had read, because this story about Samudra Manthan and nectar, and then Mahabharata and everything, you did not see. I asked you many questions. I asked you about this Maya thing, that everybody comes from me and goes back to me. He didn't say this in Kaurva's Sabha. He said in the middle of the war, when he was preaching to
The
Arjuna,
war also.
that who are you? It's me who's playing everything. So factually you were wrong. So that shows
Yes, sir.
that even something which you were given a free hand to pursue out of your own motivation, you didn't do justice. So at least in the area where you have mentioned that this is my interest area, there at least you should excel. There at least you should
Sure,
have
sir.
command over the subject. If you do not show your command over the subject there, then it gives a feeling that probably you do not have that motivation in you. You have just, see, you have got different kind of people. One who are hard workers, one who are who have got, who are gifted, they have got brain. So you might be termed as the person who is gifted, who has got brain, and just out of social pressure that everybody wants to become an IAS officer, because IAS officer are the best in India. I mean, this is undisputed, undisputedly, this is the best job in this country. And since
Yes,
you
sir.
are gifted, you're talented, and you think that you deserve the best. So that's why you are appearing for civil services examination, and you want to become an IAS officer. Otherwise, you do not have any internal motivation for that. So that way, what panelists would think that by giving you average marks, they are doing justice to you. Maybe for a couple of years you would be disgruntled that you didn't get selected, but at the end of the day, you'll be more happy by working what you can do the best, right? So don't give them this perception that you are pursuing IAS just because everybody wants to become an IAS officer, right?
Yes, sir. I got that, sir.
Yeah, work on that. That's all from my side.
Bharti
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Divyanshu,
Yes, sir.
why are you so casual? आपकी अप्रोच बहुत कैजुअल है, समझ रहे हैं? इतना कैजुअल अप्रोच से तो काम नहीं चलेगा, बहुत ज्यादा कैजुअल अप्रोच है, ऐसे से काम नहीं चलेगा बिल्कुल भी। आपको थोड़ा सा, आपकी सबसे बड़ी समस्या ये है कि आप नंबर 1 बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस ठीक से समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं, और नंबर 2 अगर आप क्वेश्चन समझ रहे हैं तो उसके पीछे की सीरियसनेस को नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं।
ठीक है सर। यस सर।
मैं दोनों का एग्जांपल देता हूँ। मैंने आपसे पूछा कि भारत की इकोनॉमी में ऐसी कौन सी यूनिक चीजें हैं, कौन सी इंट्रिंसिक प्रॉपर्टी है जो उसको $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी की तरफ ले जाएगा? आपने मुझे इसका जवाब दिया कि हमको 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बनने के लिए क्या क्या करना चाहिए।
करना चाहिए, हाँ सर, यस सर।
मैंने पूछा था इंडियन इकोनॉमी में कौन सी क्वालिटीज हैं, आपने मुझे बताया कि हमको क्या क्या करना है। तो एक एग्जांपल तो ये
यस
हो
सर।
गया कि जहाँ पे आपने क्वेश्चन सुना नहीं और अपने मन से ही जो आपको उसमें लगा आपने जवाब दे दिया। दूसरा ये कि आप उसकी सीरियसनेस को इस वजह से भी नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं कि आपने मोहम्मद सर को बताया कि एनपीए में इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड बैंक्रप्सी कोड और रिकैपिटलाइजेशन, मैंने आपको फिर से एक बताया कि बैंक कहाँ से रिकैपिटलाइज होंगी, गवर्नमेंट के पास तो पैसा नहीं है। आपने अगेन उसका फिर एक बहुत ही सुपरफिशियल आंसर मुझे दिया। तो जब आपने एक चीज बोली और उस पर काउंटर क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं तो अगेन आप उसकी सीरियसनेस को समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं। मुझे लगता है कि उसका एक सबसे बड़ा कारण यह है कि आपने अभी ठीक से पढ़ाई नहीं की है। अभी आपको करंट अफेयर्स का जो है इंडेप्थ जो है काफी ठीक से पढ़ना है।
ठीक है सर।
ठीक, बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ना पड़ेगा। आपके देखो बहुत सारे लूज स्टेटमेंट है। आपने कहा कि मैं आईएफएस में इस वजह से नहीं जाना चाहता कि मैं 27 साल से इंडिया में ही रहा हूँ, यहीं एक्वाइंटेड हूँ। तो इंडियन फॉरेन सर्विस में ऐसा कौन सा बंदा जा रहा है जो इंडिया से बाहर पैदा हुआ है और इंडिया से बाहर ही पला बड़ा है?
वो तो सही
बाकी
बात है
सब,
सर।
तो फिर आपने ये लूज स्टेटमेंट क्यों दिया?
सर वो तो इंटरेस्ट की बात थी, तो मैंने वही बोला कि मैं ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड सोसाइटी के इश्यूज में हूँ रादर देन फॉरेन इश्यूज, और मेरे
देखिए,
पास कोई रीजन था नहीं इसका।
आप किसी सर्विस को ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं या नहीं करना चाहते हैं, इंटरव्यूअर को इससे कोई मतलब नहीं है। आपके पास आंसर होना चाहिए, वो आपके अंदर से आंसर निकलना चाहिए कि मैं आईआरएस ही ज्वाइन क्यों करना चाहता हूँ, मैं इंडियन रेलवे क्यों नहीं ज्वाइन करना चाहता। उसका किसी सर्विस से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है। हर सर्विस अच्छी है, हर सर्विस खराब है।
बिल्कुल
तो
सर, वो
आपका
तो है।
आपका जो आंसर था उस पर अगर मैं काउंटर क्वेश्चन तभी मैं आपसे करता कि भाई आईएफएस में कौन सा विदेशी बच्चा आता है, सब इंडियन ही तो होते हैं। समझ रहे हैं? तो वो
यस सर।
आपकी यही कैजुअल अप्रोच है। आप कहना कुछ और चाह रहे हैं लेकिन आपने कैजुअली बोल कुछ और दिया। एग्जामिनर तो वही समझेगा जो आप बोल रहे हैं।
यस सर।
तो वहां पे आपके जो है बहुत ज्यादा गड़बड़ी हो रही है। दूसरा ये है कि आप इतना ज्यादा कैजुअल हो जा रहे हैं कि जिस क्षेत्र में आपकी जानकारी कम है आप जबरदस्ती उसको मान ले रहे हैं। अब मोहम्मद सर ने आपसे पूछा वायरल लोड के बारे में क्वेश्चन, आपने खुद अपने मुंह से बोल दिया कि मैं सीटी वैल्यू के बारे में नहीं जानता। सर ने वायरल लोड के बारे में पूछा, आप सिटी वैल्यू पे क्यों ले गए उसको? फिर वहां जाके सर ने आपको पकड़ लिया, सिटी वैल्यू 20 से ऊपर 20 से नीचे आप फंस गए। तो आपने खुद ही बोल दिया कि मैं सिटी के बारे में नहीं जानता, जबकि सर ने पूछा भी नहीं था आपसे सिटी के बारे में। तो
यस सर।
ये इतना ज्यादा कैजुअल अप्रोच हो गई है। एक्चुअल में क्या है, ये कैजुअल अप्रोच का एक बहुत बड़ा कारण ये भी है कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं कि एग्जामिनर इंटरव्यूअर में और जो इंटरव्यू देता है, हम दोनों के बीच में एक डेलिकेट डिस्टेंस होनी चाहिए। वो डेलिकेट डिस्टेंस आप क्रॉस कर जा रहे हैं, वो लाइन क्रॉस कर जा रहे हैं। देखिए, स्माइल करना ठीक है, इंटरव्यू में आप स्माइल करते हैं, ये बहुत अच्छी बात है, बट यू आर ऑलमोस्ट लाफिंग। स्पेशली उन क्वेश्चन पे आप हंस रहे हैं जिस क्वेश्चन को आप जवाब नहीं दे पा रहे हैं। ये डिपेंड, आप हो सकता है कि आप जो है आपके यही नेचुरल हैं और आप ऐसे ही रहते हैं, लेकिन एक 60 इयर्स के आदमी को जो 35 साल की सर्विस कर चुका है, ब्यूरोक्रेसी में हाई रैंक पे होल्ड कर चुके हैं, वो इस चीज को गलत भी पा सकता है कि मेरे
यस
एक तो
सर।
क्वेश्चन का जवाब नहीं दे रहा, ऊपर से हंस रहा है लड़का। समझ रहे हैं? आपकी जितनी एज
यस
नहीं है
सर।
उससे ज्यादा तो वो सर्विस एक्सपीरियंस है उनको। तो वो डेलिकेट जो डिस्टेंस है आपके बीच में और इंटरव्यूअर के बीच में, वो आप लूज कर जा रहे हो, वो आपको रखनी पड़ेगी। आप स्माइल करो, ठीक है, अच्छी बात है, आप स्माइल स्माइल फेस सबको अच्छा लगता है, बट यू आर ऑलमोस्ट लाफिंग। ऐसा नहीं करना है।
ठीक
क्योंकि
है
आपकी
सर।
बहुत कैजुअल अप्रोच हो जा रही है। लगना तो चाहिए कि यार भाई आपके सामने 4 बंदे बैठे हैं तो 35 ईयर्स की मिनिमम सबकी सर्विस है, 35 मल्टीप्लाइड बाई 4, ऑलमोस्ट 125 साल से ज्यादा का एक्सपीरियंस आपके पास बैठा है। अगर आपको क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं भी आता है, यू डोंट हैव एडिक्वेट नॉलेज, एटलीस्ट कैरी एडिक्वेट रेस्पेक्ट एंड एटिकेट्स। कम से कम उनके क्वेश्चंस को वैल्यू तो देना चाहिए, उनके क्वेश्चंस को ड्यू रेस्पेक्ट देनी चाहिए, भले आप उसका आंसर अच्छा दें या खराब दें। समझ रहे
यस
हैं?
सर।
ये सब चीजें आप में थोड़ी सी मिसिंग है। क्वेश्चंस को ठीक से, और एक आप एकदम से आंसर सुनते हैं और बस ऐसा लगता है कि किसी ने रेडियो ऑन कर दिया है, बड़बड़ 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 आंसर देना शुरू। जब आप इसकी वीडियो देखेंगे रिकॉर्डेड तो आप देखेंगे आपके में वॉइस मॉड्यूलेशन नहीं है, बीच में आप पॉज नहीं लेते हैं। मतलब आपको इंटरव्यू की जो बातचीत है उसको इंटरेस्टिंग बनाना पड़ेगा। वो ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि आप ही इंफॉर्मेशन बम्बार्ड किए जा रहे हैं।
यस सर।
थोड़ा सा देखिए, सबकी स्पीच एक नेचुरल होती है। मैं कभी ये नहीं कहता कि आप धीरे बोलो, अगर आप तेज बोलते हो तो ठीक है, आप उसको बहुत ज्यादा कंट्रोल नहीं भी कर पाओगे, लेकिन जितना उसमें गुंजाइश हो सकती है, जितना आप इम्प्रोवाइज कर सकते हैं, उतना आपको इम्प्रोवाइज करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए। ठीक है,
श्योर सर।
देखिए जो आपकी हॉबी है माइथोलॉजी, ये एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट है कि आदमी जब सीनियर सिटीजन होता है तो लोगों का इंटरेस्ट उसमें बढ़ ही जाता है ऑटोमेटिकली। और माइथोलॉजी की सबसे बड़ी ब्यूटी ही ये है कि वो लाइफ के बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस जो हमको लगता है कि सही हैं कि गलत हैं, और एक ऐसी जिसे बोलते हैं धर्म संकट में जब होता है आदमी, तो उसके क्वेश्चंस माइथोलॉजी हमको देते हैं। तो एक तो ऑलरेडी आपके सामने इतने सीनियर लोग बैठे हैं, ऊपर से आपकी हॉबी ऐसी माइथोलॉजी, जिन्होंने माइथोलॉजी पढ़ भी रखी है और जिनको लाइफ का भी आपसे बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है, तो आपकी हॉबी में आपको रियली में पकड़ तो बनानी पड़ेगी।
यस सर।
पकड़ तो आपको बनानी पड़ेगी, ठीक है, क्योंकि क्रॉस क्वेश्चन माइथोलॉजी में देखिए, कोई भी चीज़, आपने कहा कि आपका फेवरेट कैरेक्टर है कर्ण, लेकिन जब द्रौपदी का चीरहरण हो रहा था तो कर्ण शांत क्यों थे? तो माइथोलॉजी की यही ब्यूटी है।
यस
समझ
सर।
रहे हैं? हम भीष्म पितामह को इतना ग्रेट बोलते हैं लेकिन वो भी शांत बैठे थे, दुर्योधन को इतना खराब बोलते हैं लेकिन वो सबसे अच्छा फ्रेंड था। तो यही ब्यूटी है माइथोलॉजी की, और यहीं से एग्जामिनर का इंटरेस्ट जागता है, यहीं से वो क्वेश्चन पूछता है, तो उसमें आपको थोड़ी सी पकड़ बनानी पड़ेगी।
श्योर
ठीक
सर।
है, तो मेरी तरफ से इतना ही। ऑल द बेस्ट सर।
ठीक है सर,
थॉमस
थैंक यू सर।
So Divyanshu, just wanted to, I think you've got a lot of suggestions, so I don't want to burden more, but only one thing I want to mention, that mythology for an administrator, you can't govern on the basis of mythology. You said mythology will help me in my job. It will not help you in your job, because your constitution says that promotion of scientific temper should be your objective. Mythology might help you understand people whom you are going to deal with.
Definitely sir.
If you know them, understand them better, you'll be able to deal with them better as an administrator. But don't say mythology will help you. I mean, I'll use this to administer. That cannot be done. Unless constitution, you abandon the constitution, you can't use mythology to deliver.
Yes
So
sir.
that is one thing which is very interesting. And of course, the main star of Mahabharata is Lord Krishna. So it can't be anybody else. Okay,
Yes,
he
sir.
used all the resources of his side and negatives of the other side, like how Bhishma can die, how other people can die, how the Takshak, that arrow is coming, how it can be, one can save. All those things
Yes,
basically
sir.
know the weakness of the strength and weakness of the opposition, and consolidating your own weaknesses and to handle and deal with the enemy's weaknesses. So, instance. So, I mean, those are the very important things that I mentioned at the beginning. But don't say you are going to, mythology is going to help you in
Yes, sir.
administering. It can help you in dealing with the people, because you know what they think and how they think. But it will
Definitely,
not
sir.
administering. So there would have been a major loss for you if you said that mythology, I'm going to administer using mythology. And that you lose the whole thing at that time. And
Sure, sir.
you suggestions. So the best of luck to you. And by the way, how
Thank
many
you, sir.
time when you are interviews?
Sir, it's on 2nd September.
In September. So July, August, September, you have time.
Yes, sir.
You have to work on this, work on current affairs, particularly in economy, current affairs. We have not asked much question on that. And best of luck to you. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.